What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy JDiesel coming at you live with the 20th installment of Under the Radar. And with me, as always, my partner in crime, Grandmaster FloKey. How you doing today, my man?
I'm tired. We just had just straight up tired. I just came back from Boston. For those who might not know, I am running Summit Wrath of the Mix on August 10th. We just had our second qualifier over the weekend over in Boston, and we announced the full team that's coming from Massachusetts. But it's not about that tonight. It is the 20th installment. First of all, JDiesel, how do you feel about 20 episodes?
That's a lot of episodes. And you know what? What better way to cap off our 20th episode of Under the Radar than with our phenomenal guest here with us today. Introduce himself. It is Hitbox Jayto. Take it away, my man.
Thanks for having me. I was excited, actually. This is the first time I've done something like this.
Oh, sweet.
But I've had some experience talking on the mic, so hoping I can have a good time with you guys.
Hey, absolutely, my man. I mean, also, I checked out a little bit of your stream. So, like, you've got this. You got this. Let's go. But
yeah.
For those of you that might not know, one of the baddest men in Texas, why don't you talk a little... Why don't you talk?
He's like,
I have mixed feelings about compliments like that, but
all right. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself then?
Okay, so my name is Jonathan Toe, but no one calls me that. I'm just Jayto, casual life, tournament life, whatnot. I'm 30 years old. I just turned 30 a few weeks ago. I'm a chiropractor, doctor of chiropractic, licensed to practice in Texas.
What?
And I've been in the fighting game community for 9 years now, since 2010.
Oh my God, this man comes on with like fighting game chops and real doctor credentials. This man is a double threat.
Wait, real quick question. Have you done some chiropractic work on your fellow fighting game players over in Texas?
Yes, mostly only people I know and trust, of course.
Yeah, obviously.
But yeah,
that's
yes,
awesome. That's so sick. I think the only reason why I asked that because like sometimes like I need to go to the chiropractor, so I'm just like.
I've been listening to my friends in the middle of a tournament before. I have. Yeah.
That's so sick.
Oh my goodness.
But
you gotta include it.
Hey,
like, everything's bigger in Texas. You know, it's episode 20. You know, we gotta do it big. You know, so tell the people at home what team you are currently rocking, going so far into this season. And yeah.
So actually, I haven't really changed my team much throughout the entirety of Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Really?
Right now, I'm playing Android 18, Goku Black, and Tien Han. In that order, and that's actually the team that I started out with when the game first released. During the second patch, the second big balance patch, I switched out Goku Black for Super Saiyan Goku, but ever since they nerfed double supers, it's been back to Goku Black for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been fortunate because they kept on buffing 18 until this recent patch, but yeah, I have no reason to change. Basically, I'm very confident in my team composition, let's say.
So that's actually really interesting, because we actually had Globo on not too long ago, and he also is rocking the Tien Goku Black shell.
Right.
And so we got to hear a little bit from him about why he likes the shell and what he thought was good about it, because a lot of people have obviously steered away from Goku Black. Every tier list discussion I think that I see, people are like, put him lower, like, I very rarely hear people saying, oh, he's just as strong or he's just as good. What is it that you see? We'll start with Goku Black. What is it you see with this character, right? That's made you stick with him so much.
It's very simple. It's that dive kick.
Really? The dive kick?
That's it. Like, people... There's a couple of deeper things too. Like, people say, oh, Goku Black doesn't have mix-up. Goku Black doesn't have good damage, right? Now the mix-up thing is kind of an overarching my view of Dragon Ball FighterZ in general. Current state of Dragon Ball FighterZ is that nobody really has mix-up in the game anymore because of the existence of invincible guard cancel, right? The only one true mix-up in the game, in my opinion, is frame traps, like staggers and all that, or throw and all that, and Goku Black's got that. So what's much more important to me in a character is how good are they in neutral.
Interesting.
And Goku Black's got the ground beam.
Yep.
He's got the dive kicks. He's got the God Slicer. So my opinion is that Goku Black is stronger than Super Saiyan Goku in neutral, and he has lower damage. That's about it.
So it's kind of like a gift and a curse. Like Super Saiyan Goku has like a lot of these like utility tools. Like he has a faster beam.
Yeah.
But Goku Black has a command grab, and also has that neutral aspect to him with the dive kick versus like having Dragon Fist. Also, in your opinion, I feel like, do you think Goku Black has drip? Real side topic. Do you think he has swaggy combos?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But like,
so they're equal. So do you think they equal out in terms of that as well?
yeah, I think so. Like,
Awesome.
it's not like Goku Black has low damage is the thing either.
Yeah, he does.
Once he gets to the corner, and
Yeah.
it's very easy for him to get to the corner, he has high damage corner combos.
His corner
yeah.
carry, I will also say, is incredibly strong in terms
really
of just being
is.
able to move people around on screen. Between
Yeah.
Vanish, God Slicer's just very, very good for that in terms of giving you sliding pretty much wherever you are.
It's a
Mhm.
mobility tool. Like at the end of the day, because like you can use it similar to Super Saiyan Goku in that regard.
Yeah.
Like where like you can call maybe like if you were playing like Piccolo, like going back to Global, right? You
Yeah.
could call like he can do Slicer, call Piccolo, and you have that pseudo-esque traveling tool for you if you don't want to
Right.
go like on the floor already. So,
Yeah.
so
For me,
the-
it's somewhere in between. Like, it's obviously not as good as Lariat, Bardock Lariat, but I use it in the same way. It covers that ground distance right across the
Right.
street, and a call and assist behind it to cover it or combo off it.
no,
Very strong. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
Goku
yeah.
Black's and you've been seeing a lot of Goku Blacks kind of come back.
Yeah, he's
And
kind of
Lion
surged in popularity
Yeah.
lately.
Like, I have a feeling that, like, FGC Twitter or Dragon Ball Fighters Twitter, like, loves to just rag on him, but
Yeah.
like the character gets consistent results.
He
like,
gets
Nokami
the
just
job
made
done.
top 8.
He really
Half
does.
of Nokami's wins, like at CEO, were like Goku Black comebacks. So it's like, whatever, man.
I mean,
it's like how can you like debate that at that point too? And like I
Mhm.
think Sonic Fox as well. He did state that he's going back to Goku Black. So
Yeah, like, what are you gonna say? Like Nokami scrubbed out a win, or like shouldn't have won with his Goku.
Yeah.
Black?
Right.
He's like, no.
yeah, it's hard.
it was really
He's got the
funny.
tools. Yeah.
Oh my! So Jayto, I don't know if you were there. You were there on Sunday, right? Where people were just playing on the setups.
Yeah, I was there for a little bit until I got too tired and left.
Fair,
But yeah.
fair enough. So
Yeah.
I was there, and there was Sonic Fox sitting on an empty setup, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I'll try to see if I can run a set with him. So I walk up to him, and all I see is him sitting alone in training mode with Goku Black. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, can I get some sets? And he's like, no, I've got to figure something out. And I was just like, okay, this is kind of interesting. About 20 minutes later, Apology Man walks over and
Yeah.
sits down next to, and Sonic's like, we got to run this. And they run a
Oh,
first to
right.
50 with the Super Saiyan
Yeah.
Goku versus Goku
it's
Black.
Goku Black. I remember seeing that on Twitter.
I was watching some of it live. It was wild. I was just
I
like,
remember I wasn't there for that. All I saw was the Twitter follow up, and it was like, our conclusion is they are even.
yeah.
That's what they said.
and that was I'm like how weird is like that, I think about like how like certain characters in the game like will have even matchups.
Yeah, like in a
especially
1v1.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus like Trunks Vegeta, which we don't talk about that matchup.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the reason
Even though it's pretty common. Yeah.
That's very true. I think the reason Fox was doing it though was you kind of mentioned FloKey, that he might be going back to Goku Black. I think he wanted to see what the anchor fight would be like against SSJ.
That's a good point.
Where
to
you
also
end
bring
because
up.
that situation's not super uncommon. You're both down to
Very-
your anchor characters.
Very common, even.
Yeah, and I think he wanted to see whether or not, because if you find out Goku Black just gets bodied by Super Saiyan Goku in a 1v1, that's not a good look, right?
Oh, yeah, no.
But it was, I mean, with it being dead even, and also, you know why they did the first to 50 though? It was partially that. It was because Lord Knight came up and said, nah, Super Saiyan Goku is much better than Goku Black. And I think they literally did a first to 50 to disprove LK, which I find incredibly funny. Because LK, as we love you, you've been on the podcast before, is incredibly opinionated. If anyone who's ever followed his Twitter knows.
He's very like his opinions are very like strong based, but they also have his unique.
He backs it up.
Yeah,
he does back it up.
He has reasoning behind it.
Yeah, and to his credit, it's not like he like doesn't change his opinion ever. It's strong opinions weakly held is what market traders say, I think.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah. And like nowadays, I think the point now would be like, would you run that same like Goku Black versus Yamcha anchor situation, or do you think Sonic Fox has already run that by now? Because Yamcha's another common anchor.
What's your experience with that, Jayto?
I don't feel like it's that different, honestly. Like, there's some matchups where it's just not that huge of a deal, right? But again, the air beam is very good for Super Saiyan Goku in that matchup. But on the other hand, so is God Slicer. So is the dive kick, as always. On paper, their tools really aren't that different from neutral, other than God Slicer and the dive kick and the beam. Those moves are the crux of what makes them different characters. And Super Saiyan Goku has this faster 2M, a much taller hitbox on it. So that's kind of different, but Goku Black has a much farther reaching auto combo. And
the 2H of the gods.
And the 2H of the gods. that one's mixed because it's a little bit slower.
Yeah.
But it is grounded, so you can cancel into ground.
Does the air invol frames also start on frame 4 for that?
Frame 4, yes.
Okay, I was just making sure that it wasn't slower in that way.
Yeah, that's universal, but the actual hitbox comes out a little bit slower.
All right,
which means you'll get that situation where you get the blue circle, you air invuln something, and then they land and block more often.
Ooh.
Which sucks, but it happens.
Fair enough. So, all right, we got a little bit of Goku Black discussion there, and I think the character has come back in a big way. Big shout out to Kami. We had him on the podcast before, and when we brought him on here, he was saying, look, if you're not playing top tier characters, you're not trying to win this game. And so obviously I asked him why he's playing Goku Black then, right? Only fair. And he said that he recognized the character has weaknesses, but he doesn't think those weaknesses are enough to make the character not viable.
Right.
So I definitely think that he's managed to show this, especially at his last outing. I mean, and you as well, just kind of out here putting up results with Goku Black. Tier lists are great, but in tournament setting is a completely different beast.
Yeah, and tier lists for team fighters are especially like really hard to let's say even put up, even having a strong opinion on, because it's at the end of the day it's a 3v3. You're not going to have a 1v1 all that often, like if you play well and if your team is structured well, then you get to be in a situation where you never have to play a 1v1. So those kinds of matchups are slightly less important than overall team composition. And that's the same thing that happened in Marvel 3. Like, you remember Team Nemo made 3 mid-tier characters turn into a top-tier team with Nova, Spencer, and Doctor Strange. Like, no single character on that team was top tier, but you put them all together and it's literally a top-tier team.
Yeah, it's weird. And like, I think for team games, I think a lot of people, because I've been also thinking like this, like, do you think, and I posed this question to JDiesel as well, do you guys think that doing rather than like a single character tier list,
team tier list,
do a team tier list or a shell tier list?
Yeah, but again, that's going to be hard to do.
That's really hard to do.
There's too many configurations of teams, that's all. And it's weird to think about because I guess the accelerated nature of the internet nowadays, and we can see all the tournaments all the time. We have world tours, but the game's only been out for a little more than a year. So like, it's not totally fleshed out yet. And patches are there's been like 3 major patches in the game so far, so it's hard to really flesh out like definitively what's top tier. You look at, again, Marvel, my one true love. That game had 2 patches for the entirety of its like 7-year lifespan, and still year after year there's a different top tier every single time.
I mean, how long did it take Morgan to rise to prominence?
About 3 years.
20, right, like
2012, 2013, yeah.
Yeah, it took Tony till 20 because that's when Chris G started like playing her like
Yeah.
almost full time.
And before that, it was like, oh, Wesker's top tier, you know.
Oh, that's right. Early
Oh,
Wesker meta
right?
boys.
Yeah.
Everybody,
And then-
Anchor Wesker was a real. Oh god, just
The
the
biggest
memories
threat in the game, boys.
Yeah.
was Wesker. Everyone
Yeah.
like wasn't even thinking about Doom like that. They were
Or
all thinking about
Virgil, yeah.
Yeah,
Or-
there were
yeah.
just people were playing Virgil mid, and like Virgil mid like still like worked out, but
Yeah.
like Wesker like went from an anchor character to a point character.
hmm
Like that's the craziest piece to the puzzle at that point.
Right.
Like you're
And
seeing,
again, it took time for that to happen.
yeah,
So.
for real. And I think that's important to like you're seeing the game definitely flesh out throughout the world tour. Which, by the way, you guys had the opportunity. I was watching from home. But you guys had the opportunity to be at CEO 2019 over at Daytona Beach, the very first stop at the Dragon Ball Fighters World Tour. About almost 400 people entered. Goichi came out on top. How was CEO this year in comparison to last year in terms of like the World Tour?
Yeah. Well, I didn't go to CEO last year.
Yeah, last year you did. I know Jay did.
Yeah.
I did actually go. I was thankfully a better player this time, which I was incredibly thankful for. Last year, I went to one weekly, and then I went to CEO for Dragon Ball. I don't recommend people do that. It was a great time, but oh man, I was not ready. Not even slightly. It was definitely interesting because last year I didn't actually stay in Daytona. I traveled into Daytona, did my stuff, and then left. Actually, staying in Daytona was a wild ride, and I have some stories about my time in Daytona. But I actually want to kick it over to Jayto first to kind of talk a little bit about like how was your stay? How was your bracket?
I think I had a pretty lucky time. Like I'm pretty insulated. I didn't catch any of the crazy street callers or anything. I thought the food that I ate was actually pretty good.
Really?
You know? Yeah. Went to like a really good Jamaican spot.
Oh,
I'm
I'm instantly jealous. You went somewhere with real food. Oh my god.
Yeah. We flew in me and Ice Cold Edge, who's a Tekken player from Dallas, and Link, 2016 Soul Calibur 6 winner at Evo, stayed at a room together, and we rented a car, and we had a great time. The tournament
that was
itself
the move. You had access to a car.
renting the car is top tier for traveling to a major.
Yeah, that's like definitely the move. Like if you travel out of state, like renting a car just seems like the way.
Absolutely,
because you have access to other things unless you know somebody that brought a car with them.
Yeah. And then you have to like beg and wait for them to bracket stand and all that.
Jayto, please get me out of Daytona. Please take me somewhere.
Not about.
Can you just imagine Jay just being like, "Hey man, I wrote a podcast.
Can you give me a ride to get out of here?"
But the tournament itself was run really well, really cleanly.
Agreed on that.
Yeah, and I had a really good time. The only personal issue that I had was all of Dragon Ball was on like one day, Saturday. And that was tiring for me, a 30-year-old man. But I understand, they had 10 stages and like 25 games to run, so I'm not gonna complain about that too much.
I'll be honest, personally, I was not ready for the cut to top 64.
I think
mentally, I was not in the space for top 64 when it hit. If it had been the next day, I don't know if I would have won my match against Skeezer, but I think it would have been played better.
Right.
But I was, it was just kind of weird in that regard. So talk a little bit about your pools run and your top 64 run.
So in my pools was like the threats in my pool was myself, Cool Kid 93, the Street Fighter 5 player, right? And Chris G, right?
Okay, so that's some threats.
Me and Cool Kid were on the same side. Chris G was on the other side of the bracket. And I don't mean to like be disrespectful to other players, but like I kind of breezed through up until I reached Cool Kid in the pool semis.
Yeah.
And against him, I had a little bit of trouble because he has really good defense.
Yeah.
Which I guess I should have expected because he's high level, very high level Street Fighter 5 player. Been playing fighting games for a long time, He's got that grappler mentality, right?
Block everything, take my turn.
Yeah, but it turns out, he had some. I remember very clearly. I was like, "How am I going to open this up?" And then I realized, wait a minute, he's got some really bad habits that I can exploit. Like whenever I just cut my block string short, he was gonna vanish out. So I just baited it.
2H, yeah.
2H punished it. And after I figured that out, it was pretty easy to beat him, for better or worse. I think he got a game on me though, but
You actually were in our CEO predictions to make it out of your pool. We did pools right before CEO. Both I and FloKey had you getting out. So
appreciate
it. Now this would have been really awkward if we had both been like, yeah, no, this Jayto guy, nah, he's not making it out.
Wait. Do you know who won that?
I'm gonna have to sit down and do the math because the problem is when we did our predictions, we didn't cover top 64. No, it was only 3 people out of a pool originally.
Right.
It was 4, and they shuffled pools. Like I still got out of pools, but I wasn't in the same pool that I was in previously.
So the way it worked, it was very similar to 3 out, because technically me and Chris G made it out of our pool, and I think it was Cool Kid still in losers bracket that made it out. But then me and Chris G had to play each other immediately anyways.
Yeah, it was kind of bizarre.
Essentially it was the same as 3 out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was definitely a weird format because like watching from home, I texted Lowry about it. He didn't get back to me, but I was like, dude, I think no one was really prepared for top 64, like being 4 out. And, you had a lot of players that, like, even in our predictions, didn't even make it out. Like, one name that really pops to mind was Challenge for Jayto. Like, he got smoked, from what I was told, by Young Fish from Boston.
Also,
like, that was cool to see at majors.
Yeah, Young Fish himself.
Like me and Fish are boys, and I was sitting there, I was like, what? Like, and there's a lot of people that like we didn't really like. We saw as threats, but like they definitely like if you saw a threat and like a couple threats in a pool, with knowing the 4 out system ahead of time would have been so much better to like as a player think about and be like, okay. If I was like in your situation, JDiesel, I'd be like, okay, if I beat Cool Kid in this scenario, I gotta play Chris.
My thought was, I lost round 1 of pools. Man, I hope I can pull this out somehow,
dude.
That was my thought.
Hard mode engaged.
I'm gonna be real.
That means you played like twice as many games as I did.
Yeah,
yeah,
like, literally.
Let's be serious with ourselves. The minute JDiesel posted, I made it out of pools. I wish I could pull up the tweet because it was the funniest thing.
I'll tell you this run.
Oh. I screamed. My girlfriend was with me, and I was like, "Holy S word! What? JDiesel made it out of pools? You should have been UTR JDiesel." Like, what's UTR?
Oh my god! Yeah, I could have done it, but
for real though.
But talk about your run, Jay, because you said you went from losers round 1 out of pools.
Yes. So I'm going to set the stage. I want you to imagine you somehow got seeded at a tournament, even though you're not great at this game.
You
got a bye. Yeah. Take that, FloKey. Don't never underestimate me again.
That's OD.
Me and all my 33rd at random regionals finally paid off. So I got seeded. I've never gotten top 32 in any tournament, by the way. I always get 33rd. It's my curse.
Congratulations.
You broke it.
No, I still didn't get 32. But anyways.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah.
So I got seeded, and I was like, "Oh, this is wild. I've never been seeded before." And I sit down, and my first opponent comes up, and he reaches into his backpack. He doesn't pull out a fight stick. He doesn't pull out a hitbox. He doesn't pull out a pad. He pulls out a Razer keyboard.
Oh, no.
And he sits down next to me with a Razer keyboard and plugs this in. People complain about hearing buttons from hitboxes. I want you to imagine playing as a man on a keyboard. A mechanical keyboard.
That just sounds miserable.
And he also had a pad, so he had to plug it. He had to plug the PS4 controller and then the controller. Yeah. It was wild. He was playing Goku Blue. I'm not gonna lie, I got schmixed and I lost, and I was like, and here's the thing, and this is because we talk to a lot of mid-level players on this podcast. I lost my first game, and I'll be honest, I thought my run was over. Because I was like, I don't think I should have lost to that guy. I got in my own headspace. I went in with too much confidence.
No, right.
Right? And as a result, when my expectations were subverted, I imploded. I went, my God, I'm not good. Now, this is why you bring homies. My boy came up to me, and he looked at me, and he's like, JDiesel, you see that chair right there? You're going to sit in that chair, and every person they put in that chair next to you, you're going to beat. And that's it. Nice. That's all you're going to do. And they
that's like the true Rocky story.
And and I sit down in the chair, and my first opponent said, "I'm here to have fun." Or my next opponent, he died. That was it. I was like,
yo, someone clip that.
Like,
I'm here to have fun.
Like, hey, but you know what? He was super shout out to that guy for being ultra positive. You reinvigorated me. So God bless. My next opponent had a whole squad with him. He won game 1, and his boys started popping off behind me. Like, all of them. All 5 of them. My boy walks up to me, just starts pounding on my chest and says, "Let's go, JDiesel," and they all back down. I was like, what the hell is going on right now? We run it back. I get my next opponent. He went down. My next opponent went down. And then I'm like, I'm just playing. I'm not thinking about the bracket. Nothing else matters. I'm here to play Dragon Ball. I don't care. And my last opponent took me out of the zen because he goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, you're 1 away from making it out of pools." And I go,
your opponent tells you that.
And I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, man, you just win this next game. And so I like kind of come out of it. The last game I played against a player who, I'm going to be honest, was just better than me. I'm a 5. I have a 1 to 10 scale. I'm a 5. This guy was a 7.
You beat a 7?
I beat a 7.
Yo, you're a 6 now.
That is not how that works, FloKey. I am still a 5. It doesn't matter.
Man, I gotta tell you a little bit about my. Keep on going, but you gotta give me a little bit of time to unpack.
I want to hear it, but and so I go to play against, and it's funny is he was watching me earlier in pools lose almost every, or not pools, in casuals. He watched me lose almost every game I played. So he was
pissed.
So he's like, oh man, this guy's like, what is this Wat Ginyu player? And he's like a really nice guy. His name's Soap. He's one of the stronger players in the Florida scene. He's from the opposite scene from Ricky.
Right.
So from the other one. And game 1, it was matchup unfamiliarity with Ginyu. So I kind of got game 1. Game 2, he killed 2 of my characters in 20 seconds. With Bardock.
You hate to see it.
Game 3, I got the first character, and I got the second character. He was down to GT Goku. I lost my Ginyu, and then I've done something I've never done before. I ran away for 100 seconds straight.
Sick.
Every time he would get close, I would just go Super Saiyan Goku assist, Lariat, and I would just run away. I was like, and eventually we got down to 30 seconds. He got impatient, and I got the hit. And that's what it came down to. I made the cut, and this is one of those stories that, like, for mid-level players, I'll tell you, like, I was not the strongest person in my bracket. Like, I was not projected to ever beat him in any world. He was supposed to make it out winner side. I was supposed to lose to him, right? But I didn't. And sometimes in tournament, somebody can be a better player than you, but you can win purely on mental fortitude, a little bit of luck, and if you have character matchup unfamiliarity, oh my God, run with it, right? Like those 3 things, I will be honest, that's what made me get out of pools at CEO 2019, and that is my story. So,
can I be real? The fact that you ran away for 100 seconds, I'm 100% with you, my dude. I would have not guessed that. Actually, no. Why? Because you have Bardock, Super Saiyan Goku? Yeah. Never thought you would do that.
No, I mean,
you on the board? Yes. Bardock on the board? Hell no. I would hilarious.
And you know what? I'm not saying that I played that last 100 seconds correctly. But what I noticed was he was getting more and more frustrated.
No, right.
And that's why I kept running away, because he started taking bigger and bigger risks. And eventually I couldn't open him up. I couldn't open him up. I had to have him make a mistake for me to get that hit. That's what I needed.
But you forced the mistake. So.
Yes.
That's the good thing.
Yeah.
So shout out to my boy, My Fat Toy. He's my brother. He was the other player who was with me, and
Aww,
I'll be real, man. I would never have made it out of pools at CEO. I would have gone 0-2, but because of you keeping my head in the game, you made all the difference, and I love you, man. Thank you so much.
I love hearing stories like that. Because...
I'm so proud of you. I'm like a proud parent. Because we would play after the podcast. I'm like, if Jay goes to a major, I hope he doesn't go 0-2, and you made it out of bracket.
So the mental fortitude, I think, is the big thing that people, maybe a lot of people are missing from their game, right? Because it's so important for tournaments. It's probably the most important thing outside of just learning how to play the game.
Right.
And so like that hits me like right here, because I don't feel like as a player my technical skills have like improved any, like since Marvel 3 days, right? There's nothing particularly special about me. But just like being on the scene long enough, entering enough tournaments and all that, like I've gotten used to going to losers first round sometimes, I've gotten used to having to play 2 hours in grand finals sometimes and being tired and all that. So it's gotten to the point where for me, like I've really started internalizing that, like, hey, I can beat anybody. And that was a bit. I have a motto that some of my stream regulars kind of already know already, but I have a motto that an older player gave to me back in Marvel 3 days. And it's that everybody sucks, no exceptions. Everybody sucks, no exceptions.
That's actually
that means you suck. That means JDiesel. That means you suck.
Yeah.
That means Justin Wong. That means he sucks. Goichi, Sonic Fox, he sucks. And most importantly, it means I suck. All right. So, like I used to get tilted all the time. It's like, oh, why I dropped that combo even though I do that all the time in training mode. I know I can play better than this. I just made a stupid mistake. All that, I get down on myself. But when you kind of get into that headspace, like you kind of stop believing that you can win, and you have to believe at any given time that you can win always, or else you just won't. All right. So there's two approaches to that. One is saying I'm the best there ever was. No one can beat me. Right. So you always believe you can win. But honestly, I can't tell myself that. Like, just objectively, I know I can't lie to myself in that way. Some people can. They can hype themselves up. So for me, my motto is everybody sucks. Everybody.
That's OD.
So as long as I can keep that in my head, then like I don't tilt too easily. I know I don't get I don't tilt too easily is a big thing. I believe I can always win. So even when I get into a messed up situation, like I play somebody that I know is better than me, I can hopefully keep it together.
Yeah. I mean, and that's absolutely huge, because when I played that match, because I'd watched him play before, I knew who he was before I played.
Mm-hmm.
If I had gone in and go, oh, well, we had a good run, folks, made it to the end, I would have taken the 5% chance that I might have had going into that set and just tossed it away.
Right.
No, yeah.
And I've seen players do this. I've seen plenty of players do this where they'll go, oh man, I've got so-and-so in my bracket. I'll have to figure out what kind of losers run could get me out of my pool. And it's like, play the man first. Like,
right?
come on. Like, have a little confidence, right? Look.
No, I agree with that. Like, you remember at NEC when I had Sonic Fox?
I do remember this. So FloKey had Sonic in his pool.
Yeah. And everybody and their mom tweeted at me. They're like, oh my God, you have Sonic Fox in your pool. And you know what I said? I'm just going to play. And granted, it was 2-0 him, but that shit was close. And people got to hold that. And I'm going to boost myself up, and I'm one of the best in New England. But we don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. But
don't worry, FloKey's his own hype, man. He's got that.
Good.
Yeah, it's all good. But it's one of those things too, and I definitely agree with that. Like, you have to have the mental fortitude and have that mentality of yourself. Like, look, I'm gonna go into this I see my pool, see a ton of these names. I'm just gonna go in. I'm just gonna hashtag just play. I remember that from, I forget what it was. It was like some old kids commercial or like whatever. I remember reading that, and I forget if it was Disney Channel or whatever. But like I remember hashtag just play.
They didn't have hashtags when I was a kid.
Oh, it was NFL. No, it was NFL. It was NFL. I don't know why. it was NFL, and they said it was just it was like a just play thing, and like granted it was for kids, it was complete bullshit, but
if it
kind of
works,
stuck with
then
it
it's
works.
not.
It works
Exactly.
and it's really cool to see a player like you, Jay, kind of take the mentality of I'm gonna sit in this chair, and whoever they're gonna put in front of me, I'm gonna smoke.
I'm gonna be real. That mentality was completely on loan from my brother. So I mean, but you know what? That's the thing, right?
It better roll over now.
I mean, but you know what's funny is after that tournament, since I played matches, and this is part of the reason why I really recommend people to go to majors, not just for I got my Cinderella story, but I feel like the amount of experience you get from going to these type of events makes all the difference. Like an example, Soji was there. He plays my exact team. Soji is leagues better than me. But I sat down next to Soji and I went, let's play. And I remember he took off his earbuds. He goes, mirror match. And I was like, yeah. And he's like,
yeah,
okay. And then he like put his headphones and he cooked the shit out of me. Oh my God. It was like
bad.
Every like remotely fake thing I tried, he like instantly saw through. Like I couldn't get away with anything against him. But you know what? I took a bunch of notes watching him play against other people and I learned so much. And sometimes playing against people who are better, like I played against Kazunoko. All the different top players, they play differently. And you can learn different things. Like, this is one of the things that I think impresses me about fighting games so much. Everyone is like, oh, I'm the top player. But they like have different things that really like stand out about them. Like Hook Gang God, Hook hit confirms. That man has the wildest hit confirms out of anyone I've ever seen. Kazunoko, it's the way that he commands pressure. Also, he has the best adult Gohan calls, pound for pound. Not even close. I was absolutely blown away by that. Soji, the methodical way that he plays neutral. Also, his Bardock is way stronger than anyone gives it credit for. I was really stunned because a lot of people go, oh, he's the Ginyu player. I'm like, if he didn't play Ginyu, you guys would be talking about him as the Bardock player. I think he's probably top 10 Bardocks in the world. Like, he's absolutely insane.
Okay.
Like, that might be a little bit of a hot take, but I don't care. Soji's that good. But it's stuff like that where you got to go out and just play people. Sit down, try out new people. It doesn't matter if they're better than you, worse than you. There's always something to learn.
Yeah. The mind-opening thing for me when I started going to majors, like years and years ago, right? But it was that like, oh, these dudes that I see on stream all the time, that I have like up here on a pedestal, is that just like, oh, they're just regular
people.
dudes. Yep. Like especially when you can really sit down next to them and like chat with them a little bit. Like even the machines like Goichi and like Fenrich and all them is like they're regular dudes. You ever shake Fenrich's hand? Like, have you ever if you had to play Fenrich in a tournament and you have to shake his hand, right?
Yeah.
That is just like the most dead fish, socially awkward child handshake like of anyone I've
I need to make it further in brackets so I can shake hands with Fenrich now.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, he's just a kid and he's really good at video games, but he's just a kid.
Yeah.
So like that kind of broke down for me like this idea that I couldn't beat them, that they were just like these professional gamers. And like once I was able to play them, you know, all my usual mix-ups that, you know, I feel like are maybe a little fake.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, a pro player would block this, like they get hit by it, you know. So it's just kind of eye-opening in that way. But like we said before, like I think the biggest difference between like say somebody our level, and you know the world-class Sonic Fox, Goichi, Fenrich players is the experience and the mental fortitude.
Yeah.
You know, like if you or me could play at 100% all the time with clear decision making in our minds all the time, we would probably be as high as they are. But the big difference that the best of the best have is they're consistently playing at that level.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge part.
But that doesn't mean they don't make mistakes. That's the thing, and that doesn't mean you can't force mistakes. Is the thing because everyone sucks.
Yeah,
I like that circle back. Let's go, Jayto.
Yeah, so it's kind of circling back now to the World Tour a little bit. Let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. So now one Tenkaichi event down, and the next event technically is in between Evo and CEO.
Is
Two
it
to
going to
be
be
exact.
Defend the North? It can't be. It's too short,
Is there
right?
another? Oh, was it announced already?
There's nothing
No, there's
announced,
no announcement yet.
Okay.
but there's 2 events in between the Tenkaichi event and the Saga event.
Okay.
How are you 2 feeling about it? Do you guys have any predictions on what those 2 events will be? Because Evo is next month.
Yeah.
3 weeks away, literally.
Are you going to Evo, Jayto?
I am going to Evo. Yeah, that's the only event that I'll be going to in the foreseeable future. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I wish you the best of luck there. I
Appreciate it.
might be able to make it. I'm still on the fence, and that is always the worst feeling.
Especially when we try to go to Vegas.
But by the way, Jayto, a couple,
Mhm.
one of your subscribers has been in our chat, McFly, and
Okay.
I see you have a serve bot emote.
That's my dude.
And that is so. I gotta ask, what did you do? Oh, there.
Hey,
That's my
Yo,
dude.
that I'm not gonna lie, that is a sick emote. I am
Yeah.
I am a massive fan of that. So, did you start with Marvel 3 or did
Marvel
you start
3.
Marvel 2?
Marvel 3.
Marvel 3.
And like many people in vanilla Marvel 3, I played Tron Bon Assist for the Invincible Assist. But then at some point, not even before vanilla was over, I started playing Tron Bon on point. so I was a point Tron Bon player for like the first 2 years of Marvel 3. And yeah, she was fun. Love the serve bots.
I mean, the serve bots are pretty amazing. It's one of my close friends plays Tron in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That assist is whack in that game, by the way. It does like 25% of your health if you don't block it. It's kind of nutty. Also, phenomenal lockdown. But the serve bots are adorable. I shout out to the serve bots. Capcom out here, let's go. But I actually wanted to circle back on Team because obviously Goku Black. That might be the character who's not displayed on screen right now.
Right.
But we gotta talk about your ace. We gotta talk about Android 18, or this podcast title just won't make sense to anybody. Obviously we gotta get into it. So Jayto, the Apocalyptic Android 18. Why don't you tell us?
Yo, real quick, when you tweeted at us about the name thing, I was like, he knows way too much about us.
I just went through the list of the titles and I'm like, ooh, what are they gonna come up for me?
I was over here like,
I was looking forward to it.
He was over here like, oh no.
Well, I'm glad we didn't disappoint on the title. I definitely put
exactly
put some thought
the right
into
amount
it.
of cheese. Yeah,
Perfect.
Right.
That's the thing, right?
Apocalyptic.
You gotta the trick to a good title for this podcast, at least with my formula, is it's gotta be cheesy. But it can't be over cheese, right? It's gotta you gotta sound. I want the player to sound awesome, but cheesy, right? That's the mix.
It's helpful that Devil May Cry 5 came out recently, and A is for apocalyptic.
A is for apocalyptic, boys.
Yeah.
But take us away. Talk a bit about this Android from the future. What you got?
So again, it's not that complicated. I know there's a lot of different people like that. The reasons why they pick characters is they think they look cool, they think they're super top tier, they just enjoy the way they play. For me, it's mostly the latter. Like I just enjoy the way they play. I have this reputation for always playing girl characters in fighting games. Just like many other.
Well, I heard Tron before.
Yeah, I mean, so Tron X23 was my main. I play Cammy and Street Fighter, and so people just say, "Oh, so you just pick the girl characters because they're your waifus," or it's that's not true at all. Well, not at all.
Jayto has issued a public statement officially refuting these characters are not his waifus.
The reason why I play these characters is they all have the similar archetype of play where they're a little faster than most characters. They have kind of unique tools or they rush down. They're heavy on rush down, and that's kind of my thing. Especially a Cammy and X23. For the record, X23 has the fastest ground dash in the game. And in Marvel 3, bar none, the fastest.
Confirmed.
Wow.
And so initially when the game came out, I thought Android 18 felt faster, but it turns out she's not. It's just everyone has pretty much the same run speed, but she definitely has the lockdown on the a crazy offense going there. So that's why I play her. And honestly, like in the first 2 patches, I did think she was secretly top tier.
Okay. So,
and people, that wasn't really coming up on people's radar too much back then. But like there was Sosic Nash fan who was playing Dragon Ball at the time. We were both playing Android 18, and we were both like, yeah, 18 is top tier, like because she has crazy high damage, and at the time her level 3 setups were exactly what we were seeing from Bardock later in that season. 4-way mix-ups off of any level 3. So it was, I thought she was cheap, so I played her.
It's good reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about her assist? Because she has arguably what is the most unique assist in the game in terms of what it does. I mean, 17's is close but worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not nearly as active as 17's, but it does have a hit attached to it.
Right. So if they do nothing but just kind of stand there, you can get the hit, or if they try to mash something. So, but
18 assist is very good for what it is. It is extremely underrated, but it's still not like, it's not game changing or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like it's mid tier at best, but people just think it's like, oh, it's a useless assist, you just jump out of it, which is not true at all. but yeah, it's not the best. It's very good, very usable. There's a couple of things people don't realize about the game that makes 18 assist very strong. 2 things. One being, again, frame traps are the strongest thing in the game.
Yeah.
So anytime you can set up a like 5LL block string into 18 assist, they could just jump away and they wouldn't be subject to a throw or a high-low mix-up, but they're still going to be vulnerable to getting hit out of pre-jump frames, which is right. So that it strengthens frame traps in that way. So even though it's fake, it becomes real, and then the barrier covers you from reversal super dash or reversal mash buttons or reversal vanish and all of that. We're getting pretty technical now, right? But again, hopefully you guys are cool with that.
This is the stuff. When we bring character specialists on here, we want them to while out about their character.
Yeah.
Like
the other very interesting thing about Dragon Ball FighterZ as a whole, which I didn't realize until recently, is that actually until this patch came out, because what the patch note says is that Android 17 call has increased hit stop. It doesn't say hit stun, it says hit stop, which is when the characters freeze when they're getting hit in the game.
Yeah.
So, and then we were labbing it, like Silver 93 is in the chat right now, McFly's in there, we were all labbing it. It's like, wait a minute, this actually does increase the hit stun as well. And what I learned was that hit stop in this game is independent of every single character on screen.
Wait, what?
Hit stop is independent of every character on screen. So for example, if my assist is getting hit, and like say, Goku or any character, like the opponent character is hitting the assist,
right,
they have hit stop as they hit the assist, but you, the point character, do not. Which means Android 18 barrier, which has hit stop when you hit it, is a very effective anti-air. Something that would be like a safe jump, and they jump in and they hit the assist.
Yeah.
And usually they would land and recover by the time you're able to punish them. They'll freeze in the air for a little bit depending on how much hit stop they have, and you can anti-air them. So that's a
very interesting application.
Very interesting, and it's very weird. And actually, you can use this with any character, like if you just let your assist get hit, right? But it turns out Android 18 is best for doing that because she has the barrier.
Right. That makes a lot of because that way your assist is also not just getting beat up in the corner. While this is going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's
wow.
That's really
that was like mind blowing for me.
My brain is expanding right now. It's like y'all can't see it, but it went from like here to like here. I was like,
On that day, FloKey's brain grew 3 sizes.
Like I end up being like Sheen from Jimmy Neutron when he was like the tyrant. When like he was just like a really big head.
Oh
just
my
like,
god! Yeah, the brain gain.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to think about like hit stop in this game now.
Yeah.
Like, with that
I
in mind.
suspect that's system wide because there's very obvious things from the Marvel series that the devs for Dragon Ball Fighters like tried to address, like incoming mix-ups or happy birthday combos, how much damage the assist takes and all that, right? One of the really weird things that happened in Marvel 3 is that if you started punishing the assist, like say Magneto sniped out Strider assist call, and started just doing a combo on them, it was extremely hard to stop Magneto from doing that because the screen was freezing every single time he did an air heavy. And like even though it wouldn't be too hard for you to like jump and do a super jump challenge there as he's comboing your Strider, it was really hard to get the inputs in right because of the hit stop. So that doesn't happen at all in Dragon Ball Fighters, and that's because hit stop is treated independently of the characters. Yeah.
That's really interesting. So so while your assist is being comboed, you still have free reign of movement.
Exactly. Oh, that's the other reason. I'm watching your guys' chat right now, Suicide21. Thanks for reminding me. That's the other reason why Barrier can punish super dashes. Even though super dash technically does recover immediately after they hit something,
yeah,
you can hit the super dash as it's hitting during hit stop,
which is extending.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's why like Shanks is a really good example of this when he has a Dogohan with Android 18. He'll call Android 18 in those random scenarios where
they want to push a button,
and stuff like that. But like Gohan's really good at like hitting buttons, and two, he just has really large has a lot of priority in certain aspects and really fast frames.
That's the other thing with like early on, people were saying Android 18 barrier isn't good because if you recognize you're hitting it, you can just jump cancel immediately. Well, it turns out you can't jump immediately because
you're gonna have a delay anyway.
Yeah, and pre-jump frames as well.
Oh,
so it's the hit stop plus the pre-jump
frames. After you hit Android 18 is really bad then.
It's a good option.
It's still good.
It's still good. Like the only way you have to do a pretty fast low, right, to hit them, trying to jump out. But it's you have way more time than you would expect.
Do you have any idea what the frames are on this for like how long afterwards?
I have no idea. Since it is hit stop, I'm assuming that it's variable depending on the character and the button that they push. But pre-jump for sure is 4 frames.
Yeah.
So at the very least, you have those 4 frames to hit them out of the pre-jump.
Could you punish them? I don't know if you've labbed this. Have you labbed them hitting it and then trying to jump? Can you punish that with a jab every time?
With 18?
I have not labbed that actually. I'm going to be honest.
With 18?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like if you do that, because if it's longer than 2 frames, like in terms of what the total is before they get into the pre-jump squat, then you'll be able to punish. That's why I was kind of wondering.
A guaranteed punish. I will say that anytime it happens, I hit them. so like no matter what, and it's usually with the 2M. So I don't know.
A 2M even.
Yeah. Well, like the other thing, in order to jump out of hitting the barrier, you have to be hitting the jump cancelable button. So so 5LL.
You make me want to play Android 18 right now.
It's fun. She's cool.
You know what's actually like off like on the side. I was like, Android 18 on Steam really quick and just finagle a little bit.
So
might have the waifu on the team.
Now again, we're talking about how good barrier assist is, right?
And here's where we get the reality check, right?
The reality check is that a lot of times it's still way better to have an assist with some sort of hitbox on
like Yamcha.
True.
Yeah. Like, would you rather have Yamcha and Bardock assist, for example, that just covers that space in front of you otherwise, or would you rather have this barrier, which you can do neat stuff with? But like if you call Yamcha just a little bit earlier, then not only will they get anti-air, you'll get a guaranteed combo off of it, So
yeah, I guess that's why a lot of people, or at least that's why like Shanks pairs like 18 with Goku, just to have some type of neutral assist to make up for the fact that you don't really get any stage control off of 18 assist.
No, it's a defensive assist, like for sure. And you can use it as an offensive assist if you're cheeky.
Can you will it cover the same way Yamcha does to an extent? Can you SD 18 barrier and then blow them up for trying to punish your SD?
I don't know if you'd recover fast enough is one thing, and the other thing is that the barrier it comes out extremely fast. But what that means is that like you can't call it a little bit earlier to make sure it comes out at the right spot.
Gotcha.
So a lot of times what'll happen is if like you call the barrier too early, she'll just end up way too far behind you to cover you.
And then she's not going to cover you to get punished.
Yeah, and if you cover it too late, then you'll get punished like normal anyways. It's like that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, in the corner it works that way, but yeah.
How do you?
I prefer to use it just like to supplement my frame traps.
That makes a so you like it in terms of how it interacts in pressure.
Yeah,
that makes
like
a lot of sense.
It makes an unsafe option safe, like staggering off of a stand medium or something, for example. Like that's very strong, but if they're mashing jab, then you'll lose. Right. But if I stagger on medium, call 18, my stagger becomes safe there. Yeah.
So how are you feeling about the meta as a whole right now? Like in terms of like high level play, like are you? Oh well, I touched a nerve there. All right, well why don't you share some of those thoughts right there?
The meta as a whole is okay.
Okay.
And honestly, I like all the current season 2 changes. Like I like invincible guard cancel. Like I like that the one true frame trap is the one true mix up is frame traps, because like that kind of expression, let's say, like how you time your throws, how you time your staggers, how you squeeze in, sneaky overheads and stuff like that, is like that's player expression to me, because everybody does it a little bit different, right?
Right.
Whereas everybody, in season 1 was just doing blah 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 block string into an assist civilian high-low mix-up that's unseeable, whatever. There's nothing special about that. It's just the thing you have to do, right? So I like all that about this current season. On the other hand, like my fundamental issues with Dragon Ball FighterZ as a game, and the way that that's the strategies that are strong in this game, is that one super dash is too strong. And actually, that's about it. Super Dash is too strong. Like
a lot of things stem from that.
There's characters that abuse how strong Super Dash is in general. Assists that abuse how strong Super Dash is. No. So like the meta is just like Super Dash call fast assist like Yamcha, or GT Goku, and then you start your pressure that way. And that's the thing I like least about the game. But everything else is fine, I think. I think Bardock is okay. He's fair.
Yeah.
I think GT Goku even might be. No, I'm not going to comment on that.
Did you?
He's pretty busted.
I was gonna look at you real funny, Jayto.
He's pretty busted. Bardock's pretty busted as well, but like the reason why he's busted is like a side effect of how strong Super Dash is. Like imagine if Bardock didn't have Super Dash.
So it's like a cause and effect.
If you had to just use Lariat for movement, it would be a very, very different character. Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Also, they gave him a Ki Blast. I think if they just took Bardock's solo Ki Blast, I think if they took his Ki Blast away, that'd do a lot, actually.
Yeah, he's very close to... Like, the big thing with the top tiers right now is that they're extremely strong because they play very well with the system mechanics.
Yes.
And my issue with the game is that the system mechanics are a little too strong.
That makes
sense. More than Super Dash, more than anything else. Yeah.
I can definitely see where you're coming from, whereas a lot of the characters end up getting pushed into, okay, you need to do this specific thing, because if you don't, you're not going to fit this shell that I need in terms of using these tools. Like Super Dash Yamcha broke out season 1. We saw that with Kaz. And it's kind of stuck ever since. And GT Goku's just sort of the latest iteration of that. I don't know if any of you got a chance to watch Fighting Tuesday. Did
not too often. I tune in occasionally.
This week I was watching the GT Goku snap loops, and like I was kind of on the fence about GT Goku before watching Grand Finals this week for Fighting Tuesday. After watching the GT Goku snap loops, I think it's only a matter of time. I think he's quietly the best character in the game. I know people will say top 3 to the death because nobody actually wants to say it.
You're saying top 1? Is that what you're...
Are we here?
I think I'm gonna make the statement. Yeah, I think he's the best character in the game.
Top 1? Okay.
I think he's top 1.
On July 8th.
Oh my God! Wait, craving this now?
At 9:29 p.m. now 9:30 p.m., JDiesel has stated GT Goku is top 1 in the game.
And you know what? And we'll see if I'm wrong, but I think
you haven't been wrong really, like on the meta.
Bardock is incredibly strong, and this is usually the other character that people like to bring up when I talk about GT Goku in terms of like being the best character. They're like, oh, but Bardock's got Lariat. I'm like, GT Goku has Rasengan, which doesn't quite fill the exact same role, but it's pretty close. And I don't think anyone would argue that Bardock's assist is better than GT Goku's.
No.
Right? Like that's not a real argument.
Yeah.
And who's got the better level 3 Oki at this point?
GT Goku's better than everybody else's.
Right. And so
who likes a plus 184, 174, whatever.
Yeah. But GT Goku does slightly lower, actually a lot lower damage until a character dies.
Yeah, which is the trade-off, right?
Yeah.
And the other situation I think Bardock is better is as an anchor.
I get that too.
Watching GT Goku in tournament setting as a last character has really not impressed me. I think you're better off with it's weird, right? Because he has mix, but it doesn't function super well without any type of assist backup.
Yeah, like that's kind of where his stubby normals kind of come into play.
Yeah.
There's a very important thing that every character has to do, and that's jump forward with the button and hit confirm.
Yep.
And if his jump jab is pretty good relative to his hitbox, like it's very good as a counter poke, but it's very bad as a regular poke. Same for his jump medium. It's his jump medium is pretty good, but it doesn't combo well into hit confirms. Is problem.
No, I get that.
Unlike Bardock's jump medium. So
yeah. So I mean, there's trade-offs back and forth.
Yeah.
I just see GT Goku long term because the other thing is, I think there are teams where Bardock isn't an auto include. Whereas I feel like because the test in season 1 used to be you took your team and you said if I replaced one of these characters with Bardock, how much better would my team be? Right?
Yeah. What is it?
Or is it better?
Right? Or is it better? And in a lot of cases, I would say 9 times out of 10, it was like, okay, well, I know I like this character, but if I did put Bardock, he would give me blah, blah, right.
Yeah.
I think it's the GT Goku test now. I don't think it's the Bardock test anymore. I think it's the GT Goku test where so many different players are all talking about their teams and they're going, well, I love this character, but GT Goku either enables my character I love or is better than the character I love at this particular role.
Right. Personally, I feel like I've been playing GT Goku because why wouldn't I? I'm competitive, right? And I've put him on the team. I've replaced Tianshinhan with him when I do run him.
Really?
And it's better in neutral and it does way less damage when I have 18 on point.
That's a big trade-off.
Yeah. So right now I'm still using my current team, still having Tien in there.
Yeah.
Because it changes the game for me for fishing for a hit and then doing a 2-touch into death into 3 touches.
And that can be
which is a huge difference. So
also watching the other reason I'm convinced is because of Goichi. And it wasn't just like Goichi in a vacuum, because Goichi I think can honestly pick up a lot of characters and be a threat. It was watching Goichi mid-screen fuzzy every single tall character at CEO. And honestly, I literally all I could think of was you, FloKey, because I just kept seeing Piccolo after Piccolo getting fuzzied, and I was just like, oh man, I'm glad that's not FloKey right there. Like,
I forget who it was, but it was just like one of the hypest moments in the top 8 was like it was Goichi versus somebody, and he like blocked 3 fuzzies in a row.
Yeah.
It was just like, he blocked the high, blocked the high, blocked the low, and it's like oh, those are actual 50-50s.
Yeah. I got fuzzy. You know what's funny? I got fuzzy this weekend, Jay. Thanks. I remember that very fondly. You know who was it? Guess what character it was by? Guess.
Was it GT Goku?
No, it was Bardock.
Oh. I'm sorry.
It was because of GT Goku.
Oh, wait, was it mid-screen?
I think it was once.
Pulls you back to the ground, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. GT Goku, because remember how we were talking before about tier list, where it's like, oh, if we evaluate these characters in a vacuum, they're this good. My thing is, if you were to, I think, order team comps in terms of what's top tier right now, I think GT Goku would make it onto the largest number of them.
Right.
No, I
That
agree.
makes sense. Yeah.
That's kind of my rationale for what I think makes the best character in the game. Whereas like
Mhm.
Bardock is incredibly strong, but I think Bardock's range has gotten narrower.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Yeah.
at this point, if you're playing Bardock, you kind of actually have to be good at the character. I think in season 1, a lot of people could get away with a lot more, even at
Yeah.
upper mid-level play, because Bardock
Yeah.
was just that strong. Now we're seeing a
People are
divide.
learning. Yeah.
I think everyone's transitioned from that kind of feel, Jay, to like because everyone had to be good. Everyone could just pick up Bardock and just go whatever. I think the meta has turned to in season 2 specifically. Everybody's having that build with GT Goku. You're seeing players that have never touched GT Goku
Yes.
or even thought about playing the character, moving towards him, and just
Mm-hmm.
playing him just cause like or either he does really a lot of damage. He's a season 1 character.
The
Like
assist is really good.
good. Like you have a lot of different things that coming back to the GT test. Like there is like almost no reason to not play GT Goku at this point in the season unless you really don't want to.
Or
And like
I think there are teams where he's actually not the de facto correct choice.
That's
I
true.
do still maintain that. I don't think he is. When I say he's the best character in the game, I'm not saying he belongs on every single team. I think he belongs on a lot of the best comps
Yeah.
in the game.
Yeah.
That's
Now
how
here
I
the
see it.
kicker is that he arguably is the one of the best, if not the best, top pick for a teammate for other top tier characters.
Yes.
or even
Like-
mid-level, even mid-tier
Yeah,
characters
even mid tier
too.
characters. Like double beam just as a shell,
It's
you know,
so
Goku up beam
ridiculous.
or Goku Black or Super Saiyan Goku. That's good for any team,
Yep.
right? And of course, Bardock plus GT Goku is really, really strong. 21 plus GT Goku is really, really strong. Cell plus GT Goku is really, really strong. Like that's kind of the kicker for pushing him up there.
He
It's
just-
kind of the list goes on at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but 18 GT Goku, it's good, but is it better than Tianshin Han or Cooler?
Well, I guess the question for your
Maybe
team
not.
becomes: is the additional mix worth
Mhm.
the drop in potential damage?
Not for me at this moment.
And there we
for me,
go.
it's not the mix. My mix is already extremely strong. Is the thing. Like,
So you just want the
if-
damage then?
yeah, like so if Goku doesn't add additional mix up for Android 18, I don't think. What he definitely does add is additional strength in neutral, just
That's
the angle
true.
on that beam. So for me, thinking if am I going to put Tien on the team or am I going to put GT Goku on the team, that's if I need the damage, which damage is always good, or do I need the neutral? The neutral is like I can usually get away with having my current team because first of all, having 2 straight beams is still really
Yeah.
strong. Tianshin Han assist is extremely good called defensively as a counter poke assist to get a combo off of it, whereas GT Goku's not as much. GT Goku would be better offensively against people who like to jump back a lot, and I can put them in block stun from across the screen. But I can do that already with Super Dash, so that's kind of my thoughts on GT for my team in particular.
That makes a lot of sense, and that's
Yeah.
part of why like I don't think he's just ubiquitously,
Mhm.
the best character. Like we're not to the point. If we were to the point where I'm like, wow, Jayto, that makes absolutely no sense. What are you talking about? You could just one touch them with GT Goku, right? Then it would be like,
Right.
okay, well maybe something needs to be revisited. But
Yeah.
like listening to your argument. It makes a lot of sense because
No, I agree.
the things he gives you.
I mean, speaking of one touches, I can one touch with Android 18 off of a lot of hits.
I actually got one
Yeah,
touched
it's
by
ridiculous.
Android 18 earlier today. I was playing
Yeah.
against an Android 18 Cooler 16.
That's a Korean wrestling. That's Korean wrestling man's team.
That's I played
Yeah.
against that earlier today, and I just got
Yeah.
totted, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that was unfortunate, but it was
off
just
of like
one of those
some
things.
like if I have 3 bars, I can do it off of a stand short or a stand jab.
I'm not
so
gonna
it's
lie,
like-
18's combos are awesome.
yeah,
mean,
they're always
They look
fun.
they look
Always
really
satisfying.
cool. How like the execution does like those combos look crazy, but like is
Yeah.
the execution for them like relatively like easy?
Some of them are, some of them are not. They're not too hard. Let's say like it's
Okay.
nothing like there's nothing like Sako level execution. There's nothing as hard as like any Marvel 3 combo basically. Like Dragon Ball fight, like 18's combos might be up there on like combo difficulty in Dragon Ball Fighters, but Dragon Ball Fighters overall execution level is relatively low anyways, so that's what I'd say there. You have to do a link in the combo, or you have to visually confirm a link, you have to delay a cancel. That's it.
Right, but not to the point where you're like, wow, I can't believe I actually hit that combo.
Yeah. Like once you get it, it'll be consistent for you. It's one of those types of links. There's other combos that I don't do that are too hard, but like they're not like that. I like 50 extra damage to the combo or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, the best combo is the one you hit consistently in tournament. So, because that's always the thing where it's like, you could be more optimal for 50 damage, and it's like, but if I drop 1% more, or like it's not
going
worth it.
from the generic Dragon Ball combo to using the optimal, like, so I'm talking about the launch delay 17 call link on the bottom combo. That adds like 500, 600.
That's worth it. Yeah.
So like that's for sure. It's very important. But it's still not difficult. Every single 18 main, like again, some of them are in the chat right now. They do that combo and they don't drop it. So
let's go. You know
That's
what?
good.
Kudos to the 18 mains in the chat. Let's go.
Yeah,
guys.
you have some like the 18 army, the Android army.
It's the Servbot army out here. That's what it is.
Servbot army. There's only a couple of the Servbot army, but yeah.
Is that what you call your subs?
No.
What's your sweet sub name? You've got this sweet.
Yeah,
I don't really have one. I mean, it's
that should be it.
Like the Servbot army.
The Servbot army.
That just feels so demeaning. Also, it puts me as if I'm Tronbon, which is like.
I mean, you're just like, man, fix this up, man. Welcome to the Servbot army.
Welcome to the Servbot army.
So really quick, we did talk briefly on this off air a bit. Talk to us about Texas Dragon Ball a bit.
Yeah, what is the Texas FGC like?
So the Texas FGC as a whole, right now in 2019 is unfortunately a little bit kind of in a slow spell, I think.
Okay.
And this is coming off of like us being, in my opinion, a pretty strong scene for Marvel 3, Street Fighter 4 era. We still have very strong players, of course, right? But our tournaments are, a little on the small side. The last big regional tournament we had like 70 people enter Dragon Ball, like 80 people enter Tekken.
Nice.
It's healthy. It's good for a region. And this is a regional. Like we all went up to Oklahoma City and we played there, which by the way is much closer to us than Austin or Houston. By the way,
really? So it's actually easier to go to another state.
Exactly.
That's crazy to think about.
Welcome to servitude.
Welcome to
servitude.
For those of you on YouTube, go back and watch the VOD. The chat has been amazing tonight.
The chat has been actually kind of ridiculous, but yeah.
Yeah, so Texas FGC, we are decently good in Dragon Ball Fighters.
Okay.
There's me, there's KH Black, there's the two people I mentioned in my locals, Nolly and Trollster, who don't travel, by the way, but will beat me, any given day of the week.
Really?
Yeah, like we go very even, me and those two other guys.
You got to get it out there.
Yeah, they're young.
Oh, gotcha.
Trollster's still in school.
It's one of those things. Like we have a couple players in Connecticut, even in Mass, that either just finished school or like in high school right now.
Yeah.
That are kind of just making sure they finish that up. And then
so they're doing all right.
Summer break's definitely the pop off for sure.
Like we had Texas Showdown a few months ago, and Trollster made 12th place. There's a scene in Laredo, Texas, with like 3 or 4 really strong players as well. Now Laredo, Texas, again, perspective on how big Texas is 8 hours away from DFW. It's right on the border of Mexico.
Oh, so we're talking way south.
Way south, yeah. 8 hours south of DFW. And the first time I met them was when they came up to Oklahoma City, which was a 12-hour drive for them. And like there's that one player, Lucky, who got second place to me at the regional there. And he got top 8 at Texas Showdown. So we're definitely on the map. But like as far as like these, huge locals or regional tournaments that we have. It's on the small side for Dragon Ball Fighters.
No,
Now
for
we
sure.
are definitely the biggest thing people are gonna know Tekken or know Texas for is probably gonna be Mortal Kombat.
Really,
Is-
MK.
Is our bread and butter for FGC.
Yeah, that's
like-
very great.
Like I don't know if you guys saw the Combo Breaker 10v10 versus Texas versus Florida.
Yep, I knew that. I
Right?
was watching
Yeah,
that.
so like all those players are national level, I think. Yeah, all those players are national level, and like we have Ominous, we have Deoxys, we have Scar, we have Cusco.
Why are all
really
the
proud of those
MK
boys.
players got such sweet tags?
I don't know.
What is this? Is amazing.
They're doing something right. Yeah.
Like, and then in BB Tag, you guys have like players like Jan, who came
Jan,
from Marvel.
yeah,
You have
from Houston,
Shinku.
Shinku, Beta Dude, who just got 3rd place at CEO, I think.
Yeah, you guys have a really unique roster
yeah.
of players.
And that has to do again with like how kind of has to do with how spread out we all are. Like
Right.
so me and all the Dragon Ball players primarily play here in Arlington, Texas, which is, kind of a it's in between Fort Worth and Dallas. It's right there in the middle, Arlington. And we have a pretty good scene there. We have, consistent 10, 12 people at our locals.
Yeah.
But like 20 or 30 minutes to the east of us is the main venue for the Street Fighter 5 players. And they're all pretty strong, but like we don't really interact all that much. And
Right.
then the anime scene here in DFW, basically I never see them except for when I run into them at locals. They play over here in Richardson, which is like an hour away from me here in Arlington. So
Right.
it's kind of a side effect of how the distance in Texas, right? We are a little bit more insular, let's say. There's not as much crossover. So same for our Tekken 3D crowd. Yeah, we have Ice Cold Edge, we have Link,
Yeah.
we have the Realist, very, very strong Tekken players, and they all play by themselves elsewhere. So I think all our scenes are relatively healthy. But it's definitely not what I definitely miss going to a local and having like 30, 40 people at a local all playing Marvel 3 together,
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely miss going to a regional and playing Street Fighter 4 with 100 people every single time. Now
Yeah.
Texas Smash, on the other hand,
160 according to
no
chat.
joke, for a local. Texas Smash Ultimate is ridiculous.
Wow.
They all cram into it's called FX Game Exchange. It's got to be like a 30 by 30 space used video game store, and they run 160-man brackets in that little store. They have to kick most of the people out and make them wait outside to play the bracket. They run 2 pools every single week, and it takes like 6 hours to play every single week for Smash Ultimate.
That's crazy.
Wow.
It is insane. And that's over in Plano. Now here in Arlington, we have a local as well that's a little bit smaller, but it's still 60 to 80 people every single
I
week.
mean, that's a
Yeah.
very solid local.
Yeah. So Texas
That's a bit
Smash,
major.
yeah, we're no matter who we produce from there, I'm not huge on the Smash scene, right? But like the players that are going to these locals every single week, they don't know how lucky they have it, first of all. Second of all, they're guaranteed to get very, very strong just because of how often they're playing high-level players will become
Yeah.
high-level players themselves. So be on the lookout for that, I would say. But we'll see, Smash players also tend to be younger. Takes them a while to learn the mental fortitude we were talking about before.
Yeah, I mean
Mm.
that's a hard lesson to learn. I mean, I would argue no matter how old you are, I think it's incredibly hard to learn mental fortitude in fighting games or just in life
For
in
sure.
general.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because it honestly transfers outside too. Once you build up sort of that self reassurance that
Yeah.
I can handle whatever comes at me. And
Right.
even if it's not favorable, I'm gonna figure out how to make this work the best I
Yeah,
can.
that's probably the biggest gift, let's say, that fighting games in general has given me as
I agree.
a human. Just the emotions, the stress that you put yourself through playing video games competitively. Like, there's only so like depressed that I can get if like I have a really hard day at work, for example, if my boss is yelling at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all I have to do is think about like when I was in the corner blocking Bardock Gotenks for 2 minutes straight. I
You're
was
just
like,
like,
"Wait, that was worse." Or like,
no.
or more seriously, like when like having, man, the most recent one for me is when I lost to Zombu at Combo Breaker, right outside of top 32. You
Mm.
know, like just how much that hurt me, like right here, because I care so much about the game
Yeah.
and competing. Like, and then I knew I could get myself back up from that, and pull myself out of that. Like, right now, at the very least, anything that I'm putting through, just being put through at my job, for example, is not too bad. Now, I'm fortunate to say that I love my job already, so I guess that I'm not the best example.
Chiropractor man himself.
Yeah. So.
Oh my
yeah,
god! You
fighting
could have had your
games are
tag
great.
be Bane. You could be break the bat.
I mean,
I
yes,
think there's some.
but
I think
also
there's
no.
somebody named
No, I'm
Bane.
just.
I don't want to.
That'd be too antithetical to what you do.
Yeah.
This man is a healer.
Also, someone in chat. Also, make Jayto do the trombone laugh.
No.
He's got
No.
denied.
Oso's my roommate.
Is
Oso
he?
is literally like right over here, probably on the other side of the door in the living room. Yeah.
He's like, no.
Maybe I can make that as a sub goal or something.
Oh,
Yo,
I like that idea.
He's gonna walk in. It's like, hey, do that right now.
So having come from Marvel, having done all this stuff with DBZ, if there's one thing you could port from Marvel to DBZ, what would it be?
Air throw.
The air throw?
No question. Air throw.
Yes.
100%. Even if it's like ground throw is still Dragon Rush or something, air throw, absolutely. Basic saying push
Virtual.
virtual. No, air throw would change everything about this game.
Yeah.
Like have unique, have like a different air throw animation for every character.
That'd be so cool. Keep ground Dragon Rush, the same if you want to. That's already hard to tech and all that. But like air throw as a defensive option in Marvel 3, that's I don't know. Did you guys play Marvel? Either of y'all?
I played Marvel 3.
I played casually, not competitively.
Okay.
I played
air throw being one frame is what
so important.
Is what allowed like Wolverine or X-23 or even low tier characters like Tron be able to compete with people just jumping on you.
No,
like,
right.
So think of right now like how annoying it is for Vegito to just jump over your head and do his sword.
Yeah.
Down at you. Like when he's right there, you're thinking, oh, I want to jump at him and hit him with a jab, or I want to stay down here and do a 2H.
Yep.
Or I want to super dash at him because I'm a little bit further away. But it stalls him out. It puts this hitbox in front of him. That's huge. It's really hard to punish. In Marvel, those kinds of moves existed, but like you just air through it. So you got
smoked for it. Yeah.
Like if you whiff something over somebody's head, like my opinion as a Marvel player is that you should get punished.
I agree.
Like you jump over my head, you whiff, you should get punished. Right now you can kind of do that with jump jab, but it's way slower and it's way harder, and I think the game suffers for it.
That's a really good point.
That's a really absolutely good point. Like imagine Android 18 air grab.
Yeah.
That would be so
like even if you don't get a combo off of it. I mean, like again, as a Marvel player, I want to hit you and kill you. but even if you didn't get a combo off of it, if it was just a good defensive option to have, that would be my thing to port over.
No, that's a really good addition actually. Because one of the things at CEO I noticed was 2 or 3 times Goichi would EX Rasengan above people's heads, and they just like couldn't punish it.
Yeah.
And it's just like
you have to guess in that situation.
Right, and I felt wrong to me because it's like, oh, well, the problem is they don't want to commit to 2H because if they fall the other way, then
the air dash forward or the air dash back or double jumps.
Right. It's just it's kind of an issue, whereas something like air grab would help make those situations like, oh, you messed up, you're actually going to receive a punishment for it. Because I don't jump jab as an anti-air option in those types of situations is rough.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
And that's it's weird to think about, like that is one of the reasons why characters like Piccolo or Super Saiyan Goku are so strong, is because their air-to-air jabs are extremely strong.
Yes.
Right? But ideally, they wouldn't need to be that strong.
Well, if you just had an option instead that could do
if
that
everybody had like an option, a strong air-to-air option like an air throw, than like what kind of world do we live in which like a jump jab makes or breaks a character, you know? Like
Yeah,
like
that
as
is
opposed
kinda...
to like how fast they move or how big their normals are or what kind of specials they have, how much damage they do. How good is your jump jab is extremely strong in
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Fighters. And like that's interesting. It adds nuance to the game, a certain amount. But it's not ideal for a fighting game, is what I would say.
No, I can agree on that. It creates situations. I also think it creates a bad player experience
It
because
does.
you set up situations where the player, for all intents and purposes, should be able to punish, but your
or at least be
tools-
at advantage.
right?
Yeah,
But your tools don't work properly in those
Yeah.
ambiguous overhead situations.
Properly.
Yeah,
Or at least-
they don't add up. Yeah.
yeah, and that's one of the big things why people say Dragon Ball feels weird to play. It's
No,
stuff
yeah.
like that. It's not intuitive
Yeah,
for you to think about, like, if your opponent is negative, but they're in the air above you, like there's a guessing game there. It's still interesting, it's still mind games, it's still player
Right.
versus player, but it's very unlike a lot of other fighting games.
where it's just like, I'm just going to punish you now because you made a mistake, and now I get to capitalize.
I'm putting you in a mix-up now,
Right.
at the very least.
So you get rewarded
But,
for it.
Yeah.
Something...
But instead, if you're in the air above you, you could super dash.
Yeah.
And punish you for committing
ambiguous.
to the wrong thing.
A corner
Yeah.
super dash will never not annoy me. That will
Mhm.
that will always be that. And the U-turn. The U-turn super dash is the bane of my existence.
Mhm.
One small thing that I would like them to add for Marvel: differing character health.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think Broly and GT Goku should have the same amount of health.
Yeah, that'd be.
I don't think they need to be super crazy with the values. I don't think we
No,
need
I
to make
agree.
like GT Goku like Phoenix, where we give him like no health, but he gets a Super Saiyan 4 install or something, right? Like I don't think you need like to 1-to-1 it.
I don't blame Arxis for like doing same health every character, because that just kind of
Standardizes things.
it makes balance really hard to do now.
Right.
Like, and there's like that's a big can of worms. Like if you remember Marvel 3, Zero having low health, but the trade-off was he had all of the tools. That doesn't really balance out.
Yeah,
even though it feels right. Let's say,
even in BB Tag as well. Like
Mhm.
there's like definitely you could see a good balance even with their current balance. Like
Yeah.
you can see there's a shift in their play based on like the health of a character. Like
Yeah.
no one's playing Gordeau anymore for obvious reasons, but some people might not play. Some people might be picking up Akihiko now because of his health and plus his damage output.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it just makes balance of the game
It's a pain in the butt.
kind of pain.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the reason that I was interested in it is I think it gives another axis on which to balance the game.
Mhm.
It's like a Z axis.
Right, where you go, okay, we like what this character does, but this character is too much. And so, but we don't want to mess up the kit.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they just go, because the thing is, I don't think there's any character in this game, right? If you put any character in this game and you give them 5,000 health, they would see zero play, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
If you put someone like GT Goku and you put him at 9,000 health, he would still see
he
play.
would still be on most teams. Yeah.
Right, and that's
No, right.
that's kind of what I see, where they like the kits the characters have,
Mhm.
but it gives you another access to change, because the thing is, taking away 1,000 health would change a lot of interactions
Yeah.
with GT Goku and other characters. Like having your Tien in the back would guarantee 100% of the time that he's going to get two touched.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I can-
Sure.
I mean, already,
I can
but
already do that.
okay,
Yeah.
less meter. There we go.
Less
You save a little bit
meter.
of health on Tien. But
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are actually near the end of our time here.
Wow. That was real quick.
I mean, when we have great
Yeah.
guests, it's always like this.
For sure.
It's fun to talk about things.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope that you had a good time getting to talk a bit. Now, one of the things we like to do as we get towards the end of our podcast here is we like to kick it over to our guest and give them 5
Okay.
minutes. Anyone you want to talk about, anything you want to shout out, whatever, the floor is yours.
This is your time to shill, Jayto.
Shill
Probably don't
whatever
need
you
that,
want to
but-
shill. You can talk about Twitter, Twitch, whatever you
Yeah.
want to talk about.
So yeah, make sure you guys follow me on Twitter and Twitch. They're both the same tag, Jayto89. 89 being the year of my birth. So Jayto 89. And of course, I have to shout out my team, Hitbox, who's helping me out right now. Look at that wood special
Ooh, that's a
edition.
nice looking stick.
Look at that.
Can we talk about how he had the placement,
Put that right
the
there.
product placement, like
Product
on
placement.
the ready?
Yeah.
Oh well, he's wearing his
He was
Hitbox
ready.
shirt too. This man is
Yo,
prepared.
Yeah.
he was
I was ready. I'm
the
ready.
entire time. He was like, "Yo, I'm podcast night." Like,
Yeah, and shout outs to again my local scene,
Yeah.
Trollster, Nolly, for challenging me every single week, pushing me to get better. Shout outs to my roommate Oso Keko, who keeping me sane, keeping me alive all the time.
hell
All
yeah.
my all my already usual followers in the chat, in your chat today, right now.
Oh, let's go.
Thank
Yeah.
you so. Yeah, man.
And yeah, look forward to seeing what I may or may not do at Evo.
Hey,
Yes.
I mean,
Like,
anything's
I
possible.
appreciate you guys having me on because
Thank you for coming on.
again it's kind of depressing when like I make the 17th at Evo last year, having never been on stream, 17th at CEO, never make it on stream. Win my big regional tournament in Oklahoma, but they streamed it on Mixer and they lost the VODs.
Oh.
So we talk about under the radar, like I feel that. So
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what our
That's our goal.
podcast is for. We love
Mhm.
love talking to people who we see as like up and comers, people with immense potential in this community who just aren't being talked about, and that's a lot of like what we try to do on here. And obviously, we have also some like established names as well. We've had like Lord Knight and people like that, but it's important because especially I mentioned a little earlier, we're trying to offer some guidance to mid-level players, especially
For sure.
right.
people who are going from, okay, I can do well at my local, and now I'm going to like majors, and now I'm going to like bigger events, and
Mhm.
I'm struggling with the transition, or I just can't get any better than X place. What do I need to
Right.
do to make that push? And having on people who've lived that, who've just done that themselves, and kind of sharing their journey, their thought process is
Mhm.
so important, because one of the things that I've learned the most from doing this podcast is a lot of the top players look at things very, very differently than I do.
Truth.
Where
agree
they
with
look
that.
they look at the game in ways that I have just never considered before. But by talking to them, by having people like yourself on, we get a
Mhm.
chance to kind of share these different thought processes about the the game we love, Dragon Ball, and kind of take that to the wider community, who can
For
then
sure.
get to kind of pick and choose things that they want to embrace themselves.
Absolutely. And
And
I love talking about that kind of stuff too, because it's like it's things that people don't talk about that often because it's not obvious, right?
Yeah.
It's very cerebral, very abstract, but it's
Mhm.
so important for any form of competition.
No, for sure.
Everybody
definitely agree with
sucks, or you're the greatest.
Right, and you know what's funny?
Yeah.
We haven't
The,
gotten with all the 19 guests we've had up
Yeah.
to this point. No one's given us everyone sucks before.
That was
You're the
you know,
first. You're the first one.
It wouldn't have
I
been
mean-
episode 20 if that didn't happen.
It's again, I think the mentality of like you have to believe you're the best, that's more common. It's just that for me that doesn't work,
Yeah,
So
but that's the
everybody
thing.
sucks.
You
instead.
gotta
Like,
as a mid-level player. Sometimes you look up to a particular top player, and you
Mhm.
like want to emulate them, and then you realize they
You can't.
aren't quite doing what you're actually good at,
Yeah.
right?
I definitely
Yeah.
agree with
And
that.
so meeting and getting to be introduced to more of these like, mid-levels, upper mid-levels, high-level players, you realize that there's not this homogenous top player. It's like you said earlier, everyone's a person. All these top players are people. They might have a limp handshake. You just never know, right? Like
Right. And like the thing is, it goes back to what happened with you at CEO, right? Take it from went from going okay at majors to it's the old mentality what 1 year can make, right? You went from going 0-2 to like making it out of pools, and it's really important to know that you can do that kind of stuff because
Yeah.
again, it's like everybody you have that mentality of like, yeah, everybody could suck, but I'm just gonna go and play. Like this podcast has shown me that the different variety of the little intricate things, as well as just having those like I love going to the lab and trying new stuff with new characters all the time. Granted, I'm still a Gohan Piccolo gang, But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of things that you can learn from different people about characters you might not want to sit in the lab about. Like I didn't know about the hit stop thing with 18 until tonight.
I don't know if anybody's talked about it yet. So
I mean,
Exactly.
well,
So
guess what?
it's
You're
new
breaking
info.
tech
for
live.
you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
That's the most important part.
Yeah.
So we're 20 episodes in, man.
It has been a fantastic run so far, and
Let's
I
keep
think
it
this has
going,
been
baby.
a phenomenal episode. Servbot Army, thank you for joining us today. You have been absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
And for everyone else, we will, have this up on YouTube later this week, and maybe some clips to highlight some of the best parts of this episode.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Anyway,
Cool.
I have been JDiesel.
This is Jayto 89.
I have been FloKey.
And this has been Under the Radar. I'll catch you later, guys. Peace out.